Hello everyone and welcome back to another video from the Mindful Manis and Chats channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some quick tutorials on how to do some very simple, straightforward, beginner-friendly nail art. So I'm going to be showcasing 7 different ways that you can enhance your manicures if you're someone who just does like a plain cream or maybe only does like a Skittle manicure. Like for example what I'm wearing right now, where it's a few different polishes on each finger. I always think that is a fun way to do something a little bit different if you're not in the mood for nail art. However, if you want to try your hand at something a little bit more intricate, this is what this video is for. So I want to basically show you a few different ways to enhance your manicure, but without having to do anything super crazy or detailed. It's pretty just straightforward stuff, at least in my opinion. I do these when I'm feeling kind of lazy and I don't want to do something super complicated, but I still want to add a little something extra to my manicure. I rely on these 7 different things to kind of get me through that process, and I want to share them with you. At the end of this video, I'm also going to be sharing how I get inspired and how I find inspiration. Essentially just how I pick my manicures every week. I do change my manicures out weekly. Sometimes I feel just a straight cream polish on all fingers. Sometimes I do a little specialty Skittle manicure. By the way, if you're curious what I'm wearing on my nails, I always put that information in the description box. But I also sometimes am in the mood for something more intricate, something, you know, a little bit out there. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So when I was first starting doing my nails, I really did not like nail art like on my nails. I really liked making nail art and sharing it on my Instagram, which that information I'll also put in the description box. But essentially, I didn't like actually wearing it out for a long time until maybe a couple years ago. I started to actually get into doing like really, you know, crazy nail art and then like actually wearing it as like my manicure for that week. But for the longest time, I would literally do it and then take it off like within 24 hours. It felt just like, I don't know, like I thought I was like trying too hard or something, but I am really proud of my nail arts that I've done. You know, I think one day I'm gonna do a video that's basically going through my favorite and like least favorite nail art, so you can guys see the range of what I've done. But for today's video, I'm keeping it relatively simple, and I want to show you guys some ways that you can, you know, add some spice into your manicures that isn't going to take too much time or too much effort or too much skill either. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get started. Alrighty, so the first manicure I'm going to be showing you guys how to do is pretty straightforward. I'm starting from most simple to more complex to do. So first up we have the ruffian manicure, which is a very straightforward, some people also call it like a reverse French manicure. So you're just going to want to start off with a usually like a more metallic looking base color, and then with a straight edge nail polish brush, usually a cream, you can go in and just make that outline. Fun fact, this started from a brand that released the press-on nails with this kind of effect, and it became so popular that the brand decided to make its own nail polish to participate in this kind of ruffian manicure trend. Next look I'm sure you've seen in a lot of different places because it is so iconic, one of my favorites. It's just a very simple gold flake gradient. Now of course you can do this with other colors as well and even other finishes. So for example, I have also done this look with like a holographic topper or really any kind of topper that you have, or sheer clear nail polish base. So in this case I'm using a gold metallic flake topper and I'm putting it towards the tip, but you can also do it the reverse way where you have it starting at the tip and then going towards the bottom of your nail. So there's lots of different ways that you can kind of do this, and it is so simple in my opinion. You just kind of want to go in with a first coat, kind of just swiping up, and then from there you can kind of go in again and kind of make it more dense towards where you started, and then you want to go in a little bit and kind of just swipe at the other places to kind of fill in the gaps and make it all the most even. So as you can see, it's a little uneven, but then once you put the top coat on it, everything kind of smooths out and it looks absolutely amazing. This is such a iconic look in my opinion. I do it all the time. It is so easy and super quick as well. I really think that anyone can do this and it's pretty hard to mess up. So if you are doubting your abilities, I definitely recommend doing this one. It's super fun. And here's another example that I did on my nails as well. For this next look that we're doing, you're going to use a dotting tool. I bought mine on Amazon, but lots of places sell it. You can also get it at your local drugstore probably, but honestly a toothpick or a bobby pin works just as well. Just anything that you can make small dots with. This is a dotacure where I'm basically doing a polka dot method, but if you really get into dotacures, there are so many different looks that you can do. But I do think that polka dots are the most simple way that you can do them, and in my opinion, they look so cute. There are lots of different things that you can do. For example, I could go back in and do like a white dot over these pink dots that I did. You can do the dotacure like just like at the tips, creating almost like a French tip gradient effect like we saw with the gold flake, except you do it with like painting little dots. Those are super fun. So yeah, just overall, dotacures are so fun, really easy because you just need very basic supplies, and you can kind of customize it however you want and do whatever color combination you like. I actually ended up doing this exact manicure on my nails for Valentine's Day, and I loved how it came out. Alrighty, for our next look, I'm going to be showcasing swirls. I think people usually get pretty intimidated by this because it looks really complicated, but as you can see, I'm literally just using the brush that comes on the nail polish bottle. It's sometimes easier, especially if you have a nail polish bottle that has a thinner brush, but like you saw, I did it even with a thicker brush, and no, it doesn't come out absolutely perfect, but honestly, it's simple enough that you don't have to make it look perfect because the more organic it looks, the better, in my opinion. I also went in with a thinner brush to kind of fill in the gaps and do something else, but of course you can totally customize it and do whatever you like. Just trying different thicknesses of the swirls is also fun, of course, and especially also if you do it like a negative space manicure where you have like a clear base and then you do swirls on top. I think those are super fun as well, and you can do it like just on the tips. Lots of different ways you can kind of do your little swirly nails, but either way they're so fun, and honestly not as hard to do as you might think, especially because like no one can really tell if you messed up or if the swirl was supposed to go left and it went right. That's totally fine. I think it still looks so fun, and I would definitely recommend giving it a try, especially if you have nail polish bottles that have thinner and thicker brushes on them. But here's an example of what I did with a negative space nail art, and it's so fun. The next tip that I'll showcase for you guys is just using charms. I bought these from Cirque Colors, and I also have this tool that has wax on the end to help place the charms better, but of course you can honestly just use your finger. I used my finger for a long time and it worked perfectly fine. The tool is just kind of bougie, but yeah, like you can see, adding charms to your manicure is something I love to do because it is so simple. You can buy charms honestly anywhere. The ones I bought from Cirque Colors are overpriced. You can get some on Amazon for way cheaper, or honestly Michael's, your local craft store. Anything you can kind of use as a charm, even like little glitter powder as well. Lots of different things that you can try out, and it's so fun, and I feel like it really adds a little something up to your manicure and just overall adds a more interesting effect to your nails. I've used charms in a lot of my manicures, but here's one that I was really happy with, and you can see the charm pastel is great. Alright, we're going to keep adding on to this look that we're doing, and next up we're going to try using stickers. I absolutely love using stickers because they can make really intricate designs super easy, and I know some people probably don't consider using stickers and charms and things like that as nail art, but in my opinion it totally is because it is art that is on your nails. So I love doing it, especially if you don't have like a lot of time, because it really can save you all that time and effort in trying to make something look perfect when you can just put a sticker on it. Lots of different places you can also get nail stickers. In this case, the ones I'm using are from Deco Beauty, and the tweezers I'm using are also from Deco Beauty, but you can just use any regular tweezers. Of course, just use your finger and place them on as well, but highly recommend Deco Beauty for their stickers. They have absolutely great options. You can find something for everyone, and they're not too expensive. I think they're around $10, but in my opinion, they are totally worth it because of all the time that it saves me on my manicures. Here's one of my favorite looks that I did using the Deco Beauty Tropique sticker sheet. All right, next up we have something that gets a little bit more complicated, but I still think is super friendly for beginners. So this is what I call a lazy gradient. Essentially, you just take some nail polish colors, preferably ones with more sheer bases, and kind of just overlap them to have them kind of go in the rainbow effect and kind of just all merge together, and it makes it super easy compared to like a more traditional gradient where you kind of place the polishes on a sponge of sorts and then dab it onto your nail. I feel like that can get really messy and just complicated and not always look exactly how you want it to. But with the lazy gradient, it saves so much time. I feel like it looks just as great and works just as well. The one recommendation for this is that, of course, you don't always have as many polishes to work with because not all of them have a clear base. So as long as you find some that kind of all are around the same tone and kind of work together like this, I highly recommend it. This is the Holo Taco Retro Jellies collections that I used with these, but I also really like the Holo Taco Pixel Perfect collection. But of course, any jellies that you can find I think work absolutely great with the lazy gradient effect. Here's the one I did with their other collection and kind of just did them in a circle effect. Next up, I'm going to show you guys how to use vinyls with the nails. I'm going to add on to this one. The main thing with vinyls is that you're going to want to make sure that whatever you're putting the vinyl on top of is totally dry. So I put a quick dry top coat on top of the manicure and then I let it dry for about 15 minutes. And then you want to kind of dab the vinyl on like the back of your hand or something to kind of dry it out so it's not super sticky when you put it on the nail. And then you want to put it on very gently and then pick whatever polish that you want on top of it, paint it over, and then very quickly soon after you want to take off that vinyl, and you want to be careful when you're taking it off so it doesn't of course mess up what you did on it. After some cleanup, and this is what the end result looked like. I think it looks super cool. Twinkle Tea has some great, amazing vinyls, really affordable purchases, and highly recommend them. They are the best when it comes to vinyls in my opinion. They have so many different options, and I think this one came out really good. Just takes some getting used to and some practice, but I think it's really worth it because you can get some pretty intricate designs very simply. And here's an example of when I used the vinyl as well from Twinkle Tea onto a manicure. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed those mini tutorials on how to spice up your mani a little bit. I definitely think my favorite one to do is just the gold flake gradient. Of course, you can also do it with like any color, flake or whatever that you have, but I definitely have done that style many times, and I do it because it works so well. It's so easy, it's so quick, and you can do it, with gold, silver, red, like multi-chrome, like any flake that you have. And honestly, sometimes I do it just with like a holographic topper too. Like there's so many different ways you can do it, and it's so easy. All you need is like just a topper polish, and it's so fun, I think, in my opinion. Like it looks good. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I do really like that one. I do also use my stickers and charms for like, it feels like every other manicure. I've done that so many times. And honestly, if you guys want to see just like more ideas and things you can do, I always recommend checking out my Instagram page. I do a lot of nail art on there. You can kind of see what I do. Some of it is like this stuff that's more simple, just like adding a few stickers, adding a few charms, things like that. But sometimes I do go a little crazy and it's making it more complex, but definitely check it out if you're looking for more inspiration. In general, I want to get into a little bit about how I find inspiration. A lot of it does come from Instagram. There are so many talented and creative nail artists on there. I love to follow so many of them, and I just go through their pages, see what I like, and then I create folders in my Instagram where I can save by type. So like I have a folder for like French tip manicures, Skittle manicures, holiday manicures, things like that. So I really like to keep it organized. I do something very similar with my Pinterest account. I love Pinterest for nail inspo. I do think it has a better search feature if you're looking for something very specific, whereas Instagram just has a bunch of everything on it basically. So Pinterest, I definitely recommend, although my issue with Pinterest lately is that there's a lot of AI generated, nail art on there, which makes it hard to kind of sift through all the inspiration. But if I find something I really like, then I save it in a folder there as well. One other thing that I do is that I also draw out my manicures. So basically I usually pick like 3 or 4 different pictures of like nail arts that I like, and then I draw them out in my little notebook, and I essentially just draw out every aspect that I like about the, nail art that they've done and try to piece it together to make my own manicure. So I basically do like a little puzzle, and I put what I like, what I don't like, I draw it out so I can visualize it, and then if I'm getting really into it, I might color it in to see if the colors work well, all that jazz. But that's generally how I do my manicures if it's something more complex than just like a Skittle manicure. But honestly, even when I do a Skittle manicure, I will look at those bottles for like a good 20 minutes to make sure they're in the right order for like each finger, and I'm like, this color doesn't look good next to this color, etc. So you can get as into it as you want, or you can really just take more of a laid back approach and only, have like the same 3 colors in your rotation. It's honestly up to you. I think that's why I like nail art and nail polish so much, because there's so much variety with it. You can, do really crazy complex stuff. You can do some more of the simple stuff like I showed today. You can also just do a plain cream every day. You can have like 10 feet long extensions. You can do short little nubs. Like, it's really up to you, and either way, just do whatever makes you happy. And I just love seeing what everyone comes up with in the community. Nail art is so fun to me. I love doing it when my nails are long, when my nails are short. I feel like all the nail arts that I shared with you guys today, you can basically do it regardless of your nail length, nail shape, etc. So it's totally up to you. You can change it however you want. If you guys have done, something that's also really simple and easy for people to see, leave it in the comments below so that people can kind of learn even more stuff, because I'm sure, I couldn't cover everything, but I just covered the ones that I personally like to do. So let me know if you guys have any other tricks up your sleeve that you would like to share with the class, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye.